Welcome to Ghost Carrier, our 15-part alternative history audio series about a world where America lost the Pacific War. This is the tale of a doomed aircraft carrier and its crew, stranded in the vast Pacific by a supernatural twist of fate. This story has been adapted from my book, Ghost Carrier. You can purchase the full version in paperback, Kindle, or audiobook from the links in this episode's description. I'm Robert Child, and Episode 1 will begin in a moment. For a limited time, grab a signed copy of my Big War box set, a must-have keepsake for your shelf. This compelling collection features 5 of my non-fiction military history titles, complete with photographs and detailed maps. Spanning 375 pages, the stories range from the Revolution to World War II. You'll receive Washington Crossing, America's First D-Day, Rush on Boys, Hamilton at War, Gettysburg, Voices from the Front, How Canada Won the Great War, and D-Day in 90 Minutes. Don't miss out. Order your signed copy of the Big War box set now. Find the link in this episode's description.
Ghost Carrier, They Died to Fight Another Day. Written by Robert Child. Narrated by Kirk Winkler. Dayton, Ohio, modern day. Frank Rusk had looked forward to this day with feelings of both accomplishment and dread. He was glad he had reached such an impressive milestone, but to him it meant he had one foot in the grave and perhaps an arm and maybe a leg too. As he drove back home from the barber shop, images bounced through his mind. Life moments, kids' birthdays, his wedding to Katie, the night he lost his virginity. It all stretched back into a hazy world to a time and place where he could never return. I guess life prepares you for each transition. He had been ready when it was time to go to college, to get married, to go to Vietnam, but turning 70, that was altogether different. It was old, damn old, he thought, and he hadn't been sleeping well lately. He secretly feared senility, becoming a drooling old man who couldn't remember his own name and who had to be helped to the toilet. He shook off the depressing images, thinking, "Geez, Frank, this is a party, not a damn wake. Snap out of it." His wife, Katie, had asked him if he wanted a surprise party with all the family, which he thought was typical of Katie. He reminded her that if he said yes, it wouldn't be a surprise. He told her he didn't want a surprise party, but then asked her what date she thought was good. He assured her he would act as shocked as he could when he walked in the house and would say all the usual, "You shouldn't have," and "No, I never suspected," and "Really don't know how Katie pulled it off" comments everyone would expect. Pasting a smile on his face, he prepared himself for his command performance at the surprise party, though his self-nagging and his utter lack of sleep was catching up with him. He hoped this birthday celebration would be short. Later. Frank's son Ben, still a practical joker at 45, had something special planned. As Katie and the women cleared the table, Ben jumped up and offered to get the cake. Frank thought, "Oh boy." Ben soon returned with what looked like a chocolate layer cake on fire. 70 candles, the boys and I counted them twice," Ben announced to his father. Ben's freckle-faced twins, Bobby and Danny, sitting on either side of Frank, sported big grins on their 13-year-old faces, forks at the ready position. "Well, I think someone better call the fire department," Frank said as his family and friends laughed. His cousin Stan called out, "So how's it feel to be the big 7-0, Frank?" "I was waiting for that, Stan. You're so original." Family around the table snickered. "Really, it's not bad, Stan. I feel pretty damn glad to have made it this far. Still going strong. I'm feeling good." "Good enough to blow out 70 candles, Dad?" Ben goaded. "Sure, but grab me the fire extinguisher under the sink in the kitchen." With the cake now set down in front of him, candles burning, filling the dining room with smoke, Frank drew in as much air as his 70-year-old lungs could hold. His neighbor called out, "Make a wish, quick, Frank, before the smoke detectors go off." Frank rolled his eyes, then paused and thought a second, still holding his breath. There was one thing he had yearned for his entire life, an impossible dream. But he thought, hell, this is my birthday, and a pretty big one at that. I'll wish for whatever I damn well please. He pictured the wish in his mind, tilted his head back a little, and blew as hard as he could into the inferno. As he peered into what looked like 1,000,000 tiny dancing lights and blew out every ounce of air in his lungs, Frank suddenly saw his father's face appear in the candle flames. His deceased father, Joe, whom he had never met, was not staring back at him with a smile of fatherly approval. To Frank's horror, Joe's mouth opened, his eyes widened, and he screamed in abject terror. Frank leaped from the table, cake still half aflame, and rushed to the hall bathroom, slamming the door behind him. His family and neighbors stared after him. "Mom, what just happened?" Ben asked Katie. "I don't know, Ben. I don't know," she repeated, rising from her chair. As she headed down the hall, she heard the twins ask Ben if they could have cake now. Katie knocked gently on the bathroom door. "Frank, is everything all right? What happened?" Peering at his reflection in the mirror, Frank noticed the black circles of sleeplessness under his eyes. He splashed his face with water. Yeah, I think I'm okay. I don't know." "Are you coming out? The whole family's waiting." With that, Frank groaned and shook his head, feeling embarrassed about his abrupt behavior leaving the room. "Honey, could you just send everyone home?" "What? Home? It's your birthday." "I mean it. Just do this for me, please? Please, honey?" "All right, if that's what you really want." Yes, it's what I want." "Okay, but when I come back, Frank, we're going to have a talk. I want you to see a doctor." Frank closed his eyes. He knew she was right. He couldn't ignore it any more. Katie entered the dining room quietly. Few were having cake except for the kids. "How is he, Kate? What happened?" her sister called out. "He's been having trouble sleeping lately, just about every night, in fact." Ben offered, "Dad did look pretty tired. I didn't want to say anything." "Yeah, he's been waking up in cold sweats." "Bad dreams?" her sister asked. "He won't tell me. Believe me, I've asked. I can't get anything out of him. He says it's male menopause." Recognizing Frank's humor, everyone smiled, which lifted the atmosphere a bit. "I'm sorry, we're going to have to cut the party short. I'm going to get him off to bed." "Is he taking any sleeping pills?" Ben asked. "He's tried every brand they make and nothing. They don't do a thing." Ben shook his head. "I'm going to get him to a doctor. This has been going on a few weeks now." Katie's sister gave her a comforting hug. "Let us know if you need anything at all, Kate." "Thanks, I just want my husband back to normal." Frank took a long hot shower. He hoped it would be just the thing to relax him and help get him off to sleep. He lingered under the water longer than usual, trying to come up with a way to tell Katie what had been happening and what he had seen in the candle flames. He was afraid he was losing his mind. He was afraid they would confine him to a home. He envisioned himself as the patient in restraints, screaming all day from his bed, the one all the nursing home workers ignored, the one everyone wished would just die so they could have some peace and quiet. Frank finally turned the squeaky shower knob to off, and the stream became a drip. He knew Katie was waiting, but he hadn't come up with a good lie yet. Maybe, he wondered, he should just tell her the truth. Tell her that he couldn't sleep because of the vision, the terror, the flames, the rushing water, the muffled screams, the explosions. Katie was sitting in the living room watching her favorite show, Long Island Medium, when Frank walked in. She cradled a cup of hot chocolate in one hand and pulled her red faux velvet robe together tighter with the other hand. "Feeling better?" "Yeah, what are you watching?" Katie picked up the remote and clicked it. "Nothing now." Frank, resigned, settled into a rocking chair across from her. "Got it." "Frank, this has got to stop. I love you, but I can't live like this. We have to make an appointment for you to see someone who can help you." Frank remained motionless, appearing not to hear her. "If you're not going to tell me what's going on, maybe you can tell him or her or whoever." She raised her hand and scrubbed away a spilled tear. She was trembling and her face was pale. When he didn't answer, she rose slowly, ready to walk away. Frank continued to stare past her, but then, haltingly, words started to come. "Every night, it's the same. It's horrible. Just horrible." Katie sank back down into her chair without speaking a word. He turned to look at her and whispered, "It's like something you never want to see, Katie. Not in your worst nightmares. But I'm seeing it. I know I'm not dreaming, but I can't open my eyes." Katie looked at him strangely. "I'm awake and seeing the worst visions you ever could imagine. They play over and over again in my head. I'm on a ship, maybe one from World War II. It looks like ships I've seen on the History Channel. I'm running and there are other men with me. We're trapped. Men are yelling, we're below decks, I don't know how far. Guys are scrambling up this steel ladder that's glowing, it's so hot. Their hands are smoking, but they're still trying to escape. They cry out as they grip the rails. I hear someone yell that we were hit by a torpedo and the ship's going down. I start running in a different direction. The air is filled with pitch-black, oily smoke. Men are choking, heaving. They're just kids, 18, 19. I hear more guys ahead of me crying out, we're gonna die, we're all gonna die. Everyone is scared." Katie listened, transfixed. "Water is starting to fill where I am. I'm trying to walk through a foot, maybe two, of water. All of a sudden we hear this deep rumble that becomes an ear-splitting roar. Something has exploded. I feel the ship careen downward like on a roller coaster. I'm falling through the air through this passageway. I'm surrounded by other falling men. I land with a jolt against other men at a closed hatch. Men keep falling, piling on top of me. My body, my ribs, I can feel them all breaking, and still more guys are piling on top of me. I can't breathe. I know at this moment I'm going to die. I know it. Then an explosion topside rips a hole in the deck above. I see light for an instant, and then with a sound like a freight train, water floods through the hole, pouring on top of us, filling the passageway. It's all arms, legs, open-mouthed, muffled screams. I look to my left. In the dim light, I see this guy who has managed to pull a rosary out of his pocket. He holds it tight, eyes closed. Then I see his hands release it. He's gone. I grab for the rosary and miss. It tumbles away in the water. I see another guy near me. I feel I know him, that he is a buddy. I don't know how I know this guy, but I do. I know him. He struggles to get his arms and hands free in this crush of men and rushing water. I'm watching him. He's giving it every last bit of strength he's got. Frank's eyes welled with tears and his voice cracked. Finally, he gets a hand free and reaches out to me, to my hand flailing there in the water. He grabs my hand, latches on tight. I can feel him squeezing. I understand. He looks me in the eye. He doesn't want to die alone. Frank grows quiet. His words linger in the air. And then there's nothing. Nothing. The vision ends. Every night it's the exact same thing.
I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Ghost Carrier, our 15-part alternative history series. Join us next time for another installment. This story has been adapted from my book, Ghost Carrier. You can purchase the full version in paperback, Kindle, or audiobook from the links in this episode's description. I'm Robert Child, and this has been Ghost Carrier, only on Point of the Spear.
Music licensed from audioblocks.com. Point of the Spear is produced by RSC Media Group.